Hi, 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 hi. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, hi, hi. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the weekend. What's up? Hope everyone's doing well. I'm in the midst of a big content day. We recorded a casting Q&A and doing this. We're doing Survivor after the fact. It's a very busy day to be me. Now, some might say, imagine if you had an actual job. It's a weekend. We don't worry about that. Imagine people who have to do all of this and go to church on Sundays. What a mess. Thank you, Liz, for the 25 months and Quinn for the 13. If you're still here, Quinn, I thought of doing this stream of like, what if you and I made it and saw how close our lists were in terms of who we would predict to be on the next cast? I think you care too much about your friends to be objective in this exercise, though. Like, I don't believe Quinn would make this cast without America on it, which would just mean I would win. You know what I mean? I guess there's no winner. If we disagree, we're just wrong. But yeah, I'm willing to say what needs to be said. Recording content with your priest. But yeah, I think Quinn. I think Quinn is a pretty good read on these things as well. I would also not make the cast without America on it. She would at least get the call. I don't think so. I hope, right? But like, I don't. I'd be very surprised. And I put myself. I think I'm more likely, but still quite unlikely. Maybe get a call. Not Jewish. Do y'all have priests? I believe they're called rabbis. We have rabbis. One second, y'all. I'm just responding to the person who I'm doing the call with for charity. America, the artist, we love it. Oh, she's an artist. Any other UK people in here? I hope not. Mods, get him. DS Niners, thank you for tier 1 for 3 months in advance. Really putting the pressure on me. Don't worry, I'll put myself out there. I hope you're both surprised by the time All Stars 3 comes around. So that's my other thing. I think All Stars 3 is likely to happen not soon. I would expect it to be closer to season 35 than season 30. Like, Quinn, what's your guess for when this season will come around? Blanchard card, super cool. Super cool. We did a good job with Valentine's Day this year. We got each other cool stuff. Oh, are you in Cali, Quinn? Good for you. Hope y'all are having a good time. 33. It'll be random. I feel like it'll probably be mid-30s. I think one of Americory will be back eventually, but probably not both. I just think the show didn't like America. I think towards the end they figured out like, okay, this is fun. She like is fun to work with in the DR, and like there's a lot here. But I don't know. Being in a showmance, like what woman has gotten a great edit in a showmance ever? And I also think the other thing that goes against America is in the new era, there's probably more women that need to be brought back than men. You know what I mean? What's up, Haley? Jordan. I mean, Jordan was still very subservient to Jeff in the edit, you know? Like, I think the women who would get the call, well, that would spoil the stream. But, like, my list, there was a lot more women than men. You're the only showmans left. They need you. For a themed season, for sure. Alyssa, BB23, maybe. Are you saying, like, they'd call her back or that she'd be considered in a showmance? Like, I wouldn't... I don't know if I count her and Christian as, like, a real showmance. They got an edit. Alyssa got engaged today. I saw. Congrats to her. Let's go to the Reddit, and then we'll move on to some All-Starsing. Move on to some Big D attempts. Very boilerplate stream today. Very boilerplate. I don't know what boilerplate means. I just start saying it now. Isn't boilerplate just like very basic, very standard? Okay. I think with a Reddit, I like my camera over here. Alyssa got engaged. Good for her. Man's tatted up, too. Love to see it. How did Nicole beat Paul? How did Nicole beat Paul in 18? Was it because of his personality? I think it was because of their personality, kind of, and also there's no way to say that Paul definitively played a better game than Nicole. At worst, it's a coin flip, and the vote reflected it. So I don't think this is a surprising one at all. This wasn't even like a bitter jury situation. I would give I think Nicole got a little lucky getting Davon's vote. She didn't earn that vote. She didn't do well with Davon socially. Like, Davon just decided to vote for Nicole, which fair enough. But she's also a gamer, Davon. She thought Nicole played better, so what are you going to do? Insane first-time chat. So I don't think this one's super controversial. What's your opinion on bitter juries? I think they absolutely exist. I think bitter juries exist. A lot of times they're not wrong. Like, you're allowed to vote for someone because you don't like them, or vote against someone you don't like them. That's fine. But the premise that bitter juries don't exist, players make juries bitter, is not true. Everyone has personal agency. Like, a lot of people, like Tyler, the way he treated people, should not have had people bitter against him, but those people have a higher propensity to bitterness. So everything's case by case, as always, but bitter juries exist, of course. Like, against Vince, I think there was a degree of a bitter jury. Now, they also, I think, were happy to vote for Ashley. It wasn't just against Vince. But I think Vince played a pretty active role in making the jury bitter against him. So I think, like, the derogatory kind of flair that people attach to a word like bitter is wrong. Like, it's just a descriptive adjective. But I do think people acting like they don't exist and it's always just bad jury management. You're just living in, like, the reality TV strategy prison. And you think everything has intentionality and agency, and people are people. People are unpredictable. Is it justified or no? It depends. People voting against Russell Hantz, it's justified because he was a terrible person who they didn't want to vote for. You know? People voting against Tyler, I think it was, you know, they were trying to mentally figure out a way that they didn't vote for him for no reason. So, go rewatch a Game of Thrones, and I forgot how great of a character Arya Stark is. Very off topic, but Arya Stark was a great character who was given some ass storylines. The second she gets in Bravos, generally, her plots are really bad. The Lady Crane stuff's okay, I guess, but it's pretty bad. But all the stuff with the Hound is awesome. All the stuff with Gendry and Hot Pie is fun. Hot take, maybe not, maybe against Ashley, but I think Vince deserved to win. I think that's like, I think it's more people agree that Ashley should have won, but I think it's like not a hot take, really. I think if I was in the house, I would have voted for Ashley. I think. This was one of the worst posts I've ever seen. Out of the 4 steamroll winners in BBUS who played the best game. So Hayden, who, like, yeah, it's a steamroll, but, like, was it a Hayden steamroll or was it Hayden and his boys steamrolling? Derek, for sure. Cody, for sure. X, obviously not. Like, the Cookout steamrolled, but he was not the top 2 most active people in that. I think if we're doing steamroll wins, Derek is number 1 in terms of, like, that's a steamroll, 100%. I think Cody, steamroll, for sure. And then it's like, I think Chelsea is a much bigger steamroll than any of these people, based on, like, just in jury phase, she was almost unbeatable at that stage. Then it gets a little tricky, like, BB 18's not a steamroll, 17's definitely not. I think Maggie, you could argue, is pretty steamrolly, in a similar way to Hayden, where it was just majority alliance, run the game. Straight up, Danielle and Jason was kind of steamrolly, but they lost. Yeah, I really think it's kind of like Chelsea and Maggie are the ones that fit more in this than Hayden and X. Hayden and Maggie are the same. Yeah, but, like, Derek and Cody was a 2-person steamroll, Mountain Doofus. You know what I mean? Even though Cody could never win against Derek and MJ could never win against Chelsea, it's still a steamroll, you know? When one person's, like, totally doing the other's bidding. What? Look, Cody. Yeah, Donnie was targeting Derek. That's a reason to discredit Derek. But like, Cody could have gone home at the final 5 or 4 if the wrong person just won the veto. Like, Cody's game was way more flawed than Derek's. So, Caleb and Frankie helped him with comps. Yeah, but that's the steamroll. It's Derek having all the compies working for him, thinking they're his final 2. I don't think there's much of a way to debate that Derek is the best steamroll ever. You could say Andy played a better game, but Derek was the steamroller. Would you say Jag and Matt were a steamroll? Yeah, but you just can't put him in that same boat because Jag, like, it's a full game. Half the game he wasn't steamrolling at all. He was being steamrolled, and then the other half he did. Chelsea, like, she wasn't running shit for the first 6 weeks, but she was kind of in charge for a lot of it, and was only on the back foot for a tiny portion of it. Maggie was on the block, but, like, you know, she was fine. And Matt, what did he steamroll? That's not his play style. Jordan, I don't think so. It's just not a play style. Thanks Rooster and L Michelle for the subs. I appreciate you guys. So of this list, I think Xavier for sure, but I think this is the a flawed list. In the fall, Jacob. What do we got next? I love BB1. Don't hate me. You're allowed to like the shows that you like, but I'm allowed to judge you for it. Ooh, Showman's post. So America was very offended by this post because they have us under 2 years. Under 2 years? Are you kidding me? We're like closer to 2.5 than under 2. She saw a comment pointing it out, and she was like, yes, my alt, my burner. But yeah, I mean, it was a very rough year for Big Brother Showmances. I think we had like 5 or 4 breakups, which is sad. You know, you don't want to see it. I think The Bachelor is firmly ahead of Big Brother at this stage, right? Bachelor's red, Big Brother's blue. Yeah, they got like a tiny lead on us. And now it's like, Jesus. After Valentine's Day 2025, we're at 13. They're at 16 3/4 somehow. Mackenzie and Matt are back, though. Is that true? Or are you joking? Is that true? Okay, I'm getting a true from the same source, so I'm going to need another source. I can guarantee America will do some research. And when I say research, I mean look online. How do you know? Someone's saying it. That's their rumor? Okay, well, we're not going to worry about that then, if it's just a rumor. But yeah, you know what? Rough year for the Showmances, but we'll rally. We'll rally. Texting Kat. No. They both visited South Carolina at the same time recently. We need our men on the street to report. Cody and Jess, the most recent Showmans? Nah, Swaggy and Bailey are 20. They were 19. So I think Swaggy and Bailey would be the most recent after us. Because no one from 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. It's just us. So nothing's confirmed. We don't gotta give credence to mere rumors, but you know, you never want to see people break up. Very sad. It's just called OTEV. What is this post? Yeah, what are we doing here? I've watched every season. I'm watching All Stars, and I'm on the OTEV. Chicken George said OTEV and pronounced it OTEV. I thought and looked at my wife and laughed, but now I think about it, it makes more sense to be OTEV since it's veto. It ain't that serious. I do hear you, though. No pink hat mentioned? Damn. I'm starting to think that whole pink hat thing didn't catch on. Zach's hat reminded me of Timmy Turner? What? How dare you? You take my fucking comparison, too? I understand Zach's hot pink hat was probably a bigger deal than my little pink hat. But what the fuck? He's not Timmy Turner. Even though his hat's actually closer to the Timmy Turner color. It's my thing. Zach's hot? What the fuck? Oh, I thought you were dissing me, Jared. Like, what the fuck? Out of left field. Tucker's bucket hat. Zach Rance's green sweater. I mean, I think I associate him with the Gators shirt. Danny's boots. America's cute little outfit that Cory put on. All right, I got a reference. So they're talking about my overalls. That was a good look. I think if I were to ever play Big Brother again, I would definitely prioritize having like 4 cool eviction fits, whereas I didn't care at all the first time, obviously. But I think in retrospect, it's fun to have some cool looks. Best non-winning game in BB history? I don't think it's Vanessa. I think it's almost impossible to say it's Vanessa. Vanessa is one of the best and one of my favorites, but like she got into a final 3 where she wasn't guaranteed a spot in the final 2. People have done better than that, you know? And maybe you say like getting into a 2 out of 3 chance to win the game is better than getting to the final 2 and losing, but like I just think Tyler's game is better than Vanessa's. Pretty simply. I think Vanessa's better than like Danielle Reyes. I'll give her that. Dan on 14 is another great argument. But I think like getting into a final 3 where you're not guaranteed to even get to the end, there's just some people who've done it. I wouldn't say like Vince is better because Vince got to the final 2, but I think a guy like Tyler probably has played the best winning game despite losing. Paul on 19. Yeah, I think Paul on 19 is probably better than Vanessa. I don't know. It's one of those things where like you could say his jury management was so terrible. Like they literally had everyone pissed at them. They voted for Josh over Paul. I get it. But they got 4 votes out of 9. You know, like if it was unanimous, I'd feel very differently. Paul safety for the first 3 weeks, of course, and that's contextual. It's just you have to also contextualize the fact that it was the most dominant game in Big Brother history, much more than Derek. Like Paul had the house on lockdown. They were choosing who got the HOH every week. Like who were we going to throw it to this week? Like Derek didn't even accomplish that. So, you know, of course you hold that against them, but I don't think it's like damning. Has anyone submitted an audition video? Yeah, when you do the unlisted YouTube video and you get very paranoid because like every time you look at it, there's a new view and you're like, oh my god, casting's looked at it, but it's probably just you refreshing the page. Any guess for a premiere date? Probably similar as last year is my guess. All right, let's just get to the stream. I chose the ugliest background and text color of all time. Apologies, but eventually it's going to become just pictures. Also, I'm a Smurf now because of the light blasting on me. But we'll get rid of this color soon. Don't worry. BB All Stars 3. So we've done this before. Fan cast, voting on the cast. You know, I want to do one that's really realistic because I think as a BB alum, as someone in the community who knows some of these casting people, obviously we don't talk to them about who's going to be on All Stars 3. But you can kind of get the sense of who's in the mix by who's been on other shows and who seems to always get called to participate in different things. And I think I've got a pretty good handle on what All Stars 3 would look like if it happened tomorrow. I feel like I've got 8 to 10 guaranteed, just clock it. And then they always have a couple surprises, and I try to nail some of those surprises down. So, I categorized these people into 3 categories. First being sure thing. I would bet a tremendous amount of money if All Stars 3 happens tomorrow, they would be on the cast. It is more likely than not they're playing Big Brother again. Then I have probably. Probably is pretty simple. You probably have a better chance than everyone below you, but maybe you'll say no. Maybe they won't call you. Maybe your spot will be contested by somebody else. All things considered, I think you're going to be on. But for one reason or another, I don't feel like it's a sure thing. And then there's this third category, which is like, some of you will get on, some of you won't. Everyone here is kind of a toss-up. Now, I don't have a definitive 16. I have a definitive, 10, and then those last 6 spots, I have a group of people who we're going to try to talk through. So, we're going to work through BB27 first, and in my opinion, there's only 6 locks that I would say are guaranteed to get the call, and I think are more than likely to say yes unless there's crazy circumstances. First up, sure things, is Morgan. it does not take being Morgan's friend or being an expert to recognize that Morgan wants to play again. Playing the game she did, getting so close and losing, obviously she's very hungry to do it again. Big Brother would be silly not to cast her. She's a rabid gamer, is very fun, feeds, is extremely memorable on the show. They love casting these people who got so close to winning but fell just short. There's a lot of like inherent story there. Of course, if they bring Vince back, there's the her and Vince dynamic. If they bring back Ashley, there's the Morgan and Ashley dynamic. Ashley cut Morgan. So, like, there's just every reason in the world for Morgan to be on. They love Comp Beasts. She's extremely memorable, was on a very popular season. They'll ask her. She'll say yes. She'll be on. The only way she wouldn't be is if it's like BB 38 and they have a whole new crop of people. And, you know, even still, they might go back to Morgan. So Morgan's a lock, 100%. The next lock, in my opinion, is Keanu. There's no way Keanu says no. There's no way they don't ask Keanu. There's this archetype of the chaotic underdog who wins AFP, like Keanu and Tucker and Cameron and Frank Udy. Keanu's the one who's going to get the call. First of all, he's, I don't say least problematic. He hasn't done shit either. But he's not problematic in that way. I think amongst casuals, he's as loved as any of them, and amongst superfans, he's probably more loved than most of them. Not that they really give a shit about superfans at all, right? But it doesn't hurt him. Obviously, he's a comp beast. He made it far, extremely memorable. He wants to play. I'd be very happy for him to return. I know he'd play super hard. He's expressed an interest to go on the challenge, to go on Big Brother, to play Survivor. Like, he wants to do anything, so that won't be an issue, and them calling him certainly won't be an issue, so I think he is a lock. I could see if they just do like BB28, have one returnee, that could be Keanu. I think it's more likely Keanu than like a Morgan, just because that's when they go with just the biggest name, and Keanu is the biggest name coming out of BB27, even more than Vince, even though like from our perspective, it's like Vince is the name, right? Everyone's talking about Vince postseason. Keanu, for casuals, is the guy. So that's all from BB27 I have in locks. That's it. Now, BB26, I think I'm going next. Angela's a lock, in my opinion. I have no reason to believe Angela wouldn't do it again. Obviously, she's had somewhat negative experiences with the fan base, of course. Like, she gets a lot of hate. She's also the type of person who doesn't care as much and is, like, not going to let those haters keep her down. I think she has probably more mainstream appeal than just about any Big Brother player in years. And that means, like, at law school, when people hear I'm on Big Brother, or was on Big Brother, they ask me about Angela first. And that's, as recently as like a month or two ago. So she just is like the biggest name in forever. I'm sure she'll be on Traders whenever Big Brother lets her. Like, I'm sure they're going to call her every year. I've talked about it. Like, I think just casting Angela would be unfortunate if, like, that means they're not casting someone like Felicia. I say cast both. But I do think Angela is certainly going to get the call first, and I think she would say yes. I don't think she's expressed anything to the contrary. So that's pretty clear to me. The next, in my opinion, lock from BB26 is Chelsea. She's talked about wanting to play again, which is interesting because she obviously played such a flawless game. She's been involved in like some BB Unlocked stuff. She's been around. They're still keeping in contact with her. She did well in the race. I'd love to have her back on just because it's one of the best players in the show's history, getting to build on their legacy. There's a lot of reasons to criticize Chelsea. Some of the things she say, obviously, are things I don't agree with. But she's going to get the call, and I think she would say yes. I'd like her to say yes. I think I want the best players to play multiple times so we get to really try to evaluate them. Get some, semblance of objectivity when, obviously, objectivity does not exist in Big Brother player rankings. So I think Chelsea is certainly going to get the call. She's a legend of the game. She'll be there. Okay, I think we're going to BB25 or maybe one more 26. Jag, yeah. Look, I love Jag. Happy birthday, Jag. His birthday was yesterday. He's going to get the call. From BB25, he's the only lock in my opinion. He's been contacted for everything after his season. He was doing the little show with Taylor and Cody, and then he's getting jaggy with it on Unlocked, and he's winning the Amazing Race, and he's just gonna be on the show. That's very obvious to me. I think he's a beacon of positivity for CBS. They love what Jag brings to the table. They love him representing his culture and his hometown, and like it's just he's just a good guy, and they like having good guys who are good at comps and know how to give confessionals. It's just a no-brainer. And let's be real, from BB25, I think he is the most memorable person at this stage. Which sounds crazy. Maybe you could say Suri, but I do think if you have like casual appeal, people who haven't watched BB25 since it aired or haven't talked about it, just they just watch the TV show when it's on. I think Jag is probably the person they would recognize most easily, if not Suri. But it's Jag clearly over Cameron at this stage, over myself, America, Blue. Like it's just him. So I think he's a lock. I think the only lock from BB25. Tiffany. Skipping 24, I don't think there's any locks from 24, honestly. But I do think Tiffany's a lock. She has a chip on her shoulder for sure. She feels like she left some stuff out there. She wants to play. She wants to win. She's America's favorite player. Head of the most dominant alliance in Big Brother history. The best player in that alliance. A great TV character. Just a no-brainer. A no-brainer for Tiffany. So, I think she's about as guaranteed as anybody, and she should come back. I mean, come on. I have her as the best player of the new era. Not about does it. So, and again, I see people mentioning, what about this person? What about this person? Here's why this person would be cast. These are the locks. Is there any doubt that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, every single one of them will get the call? And in my opinion, every single one of them will say yes. If you're not like a sure thing on both ends of that equation, you're not making this part of the list. So for me, these are the locks. Now, the next category is probably. I think they would be on the cast. I think it's more than 50% likely if BB28 was All-Stars 3, these people would make the cut. But there's one or two hang-ups that make me not feel comfortable putting them in the previous category. Taylor is the first one. They'll call her. They'll ask her. Will she do it? I don't know. I don't know if she instantly jumped on the opportunity to do the race either. I think sometimes you feel like you don't want to do these things, and then the casting starts happening, and you get FOMO because like it's a lot of your friends doing it and like other big names, and then it kind of gets you in it. You're like, fuck it, I'll do it. Saying Taylor would never do it, I don't agree. Like, I think if Taylor says she doesn't want to do it, I believe her. I don't think she's lying. I don't think she's bullshitting or trying to seem cool. Like, I think it's a different thing when you get the call and now you're like, it's festering in your brain, especially because reality TV fame is relatively fleeting. Even for someone like Taylor, who I think did more with her notoriety than just about anyone. Obviously, she was at the Grammys recently for like the second time. But it doesn't hurt a reality TV person to go on another reality TV show. It doesn't. So I just don't think it's a sure thing she says no. It's a sure thing she gets called, and if she wants to do it, she'll be on the season. I think it'd be interesting. I think there'll be a lot of interesting dynamics of like her and Tiffany, and how are her and the other winners. Like I don't know. I think it'd be cool. I do think if she could pick between like Big Brother and Traitors, she'd pick Traitors, and I think she's gonna get the Traitors call soon. I don't know if it's just a contract thing or they're just working through people, but I do think I think right now I feel more confident Taylor being on All-Stars 3 than a lot of other people who I think y'all would consider. I think June is no chance because of her relationship with Julie Chen. I think it'd almost be disrespectful to Julie to have June. So, next person in the probably category is Derek X. Not sure if he'd say yes. I feel pretty confident he would get the call. He's very unique. There's not a ton of people like Derek X in the casting pool, especially for an All-Stars season. Very likable, very close to winning AFP. No one would be upset with Derek coming back. Like, it's just a no-brainer. I think he's closer to a lock than anyone else in the probably category. I just haven't heard Derek talk about coming back recently. I don't know where he's at. So, like, maybe he would just say no. I think he's working a new job. So it's like, it might just be a lot for him to drop everything and do BB again. Especially because for a guy like him, it's not going to, make him like a huge celebrity different to how he is now. Like, he kind of is what he is. He's a good content creator and, like, he is going to succeed regardless of if he does Big Brother again. I think his chances get smaller every year. I don't think so. It's not the same thing as like me or Quinn, where like every year they have 3 nerds. For what it's worth, like Big Brother does not cast a ton of Asian men. So like if they're trying to tick boxes diversity wise, I guess that goes in his favor. The point is, I don't think Derek X is competing against the other like Tucker or Keanu. You know, I think he's a little bit more in his own lane. Yeah, and he was an elf in reindeer games too. So, you know, he's in the mix for sure. Okay, so I think he is likely to be on. Vinny. Vince will say yes. He's talked about wanting to do it again. I think he has a lot of regrets about his time on the season, which I understand. You know, he had a lot of opportunities to maybe win the season. Didn't work out that way. I think production would do it. I don't see why not. I just think there's a little bit of like, okay, so are we doing the Morgan to Vince thing again? Are we going to have them play separately? Vince is in a more competitive archetype, even though I do think he's the most likely to get the call. Is he the same archetype as me and Quinn? Not quite. He's kind of more like Turner. But there's a lot of people in the mix who could theoretically get a call. I think Vince would be the most likely to get through the whole process. But I don't think it's as obvious a sure thing as Morgan. And you have to keep in mind that Vince's out-of-show antics and like his mystique and stuff doesn't matter to casting. Like, they just care about what was on the show. And on the show, he's like a runner-up who was robbed. Like, that's the story. That's what they showed at the jury roundtable. I think the casual viewers think Vince should have won and a bitter jury voted against him. And from that lens, I think they'd want him back on the show. Because that's just a good story. So I think Vince would get on. He got like 300 confessionals. He also was HOH like 3 times or 4 times and won competitions and was on the block several times and made it to the end. They liked him clearly, but the reason why his confessional count is so drastically high is because he was always just in the positions that required confessionals. I do not think he's more of a lock than Morgan. Absolutely not. I disagree with that strongly. Yeah, I disagree with that. But I think they both have a really good shot. And I think they would like to have both of them back on. It'd be interesting. Vince was the main character at 27. For the casuals, it was Keanu. However you want to, you know, it's Keanu. But that's just wrong, but okay. No, what's wrong, Rooster? Go on. Explain your case. What are you talking about? He obviously got a big edit, but, like, Jag got the most confessionals in BB25 by a country mile. It's just how it works. You know what I mean? Unless you're talking about the Vince over Morgan thing. I think Morgan's more likely to get the call. But I think they both get the call. Yeah, I think it's both. I just think Morgan's 100% going to say yes. I think Vince is pretty likely to say yes, too. But I think Morgan's got a better story going into a future season. Not to mention, I think Morgan's got, like, more interesting dynamics to, like, the other house guests who might be in the mix. If they only want one, they choose Morgan. I agree, yeah. He said today he would definitely play again. Yeah, he's been pretty consistent, so I have no reason to believe he would say no. Morgan to be a bigger target because now they know she's a gamer. Well, I think they'd actually be pretty similar targets. They might. I think Vince, his whole playstyle is about just diminishing his threat level, so I think he would actually be able to get away with it in the same way he did on 27. Morgan, I think, would have trouble on a returning season because, like, people would know she's running around scheming. But they knew that on 27. They didn't do anything. So, I think Vince would probably be on. But I don't think it's as certain. Tucker, yeah, there's 2 elements to this. Would he say yes? I think he would. Obviously, he had a miserable time on Big Brother, but, like, it's very easy to forget the negative, remember the positive, and then think you're going to go do it again. Vince was the main character of the season, even when he wasn't involved. When was he not involved? I guess that's the point I'm making. Like, there was no week where Vince wasn't incredibly integral to the strategy. Like, I don't think Vince. Okay. Let me just break this down because I think we're disagreeing more. We agree more than we think. Vince did not get a disproportionate edit to his impact. Does that make sense? Vince's edit matched Vince's presence in the show and on the feeds. Cameron, from my season, his edit was vastly disproportionate to his impact on the season, which in my opinion is an indicator of like production loving you and being obsessed with you. Does that make sense? Does that clear up the confusion? Someone saying Tucker has overlap with Keanu. He does, and they want both. I think this is why Cameron wouldn't get cast, not why Tucker wouldn't get cast. Tucker is one of the most popular house guests in a decade. They love him. He's admittedly probably a bit annoying to work with on a production standpoint. He has a lot of demands, and he wants to quit. There's a lot of baggage there. But the way that production views it is they're being evaluated in terms of like getting a raise and keeping their job and being promoted by putting out a good TV product. And Tucker is key to a good TV product, and all the annoyances behind the scenes is their problem. Like, they don't care. They'll deal with that because it'll make a better show. And for what it's worth, Tucker is the best casting choice of all time for edited episodes. Every one of his antics is in speeches and at ceremonies and in competition. So, like, he's a no-brainer. He will get called. He will walk into the house if he wants to. I don't know if he says yes, but I think he would. Based on nothing. But I just think it's hard to say no to these opportunities. You know what I mean? I don't know what you want me to say, Rooster. Like, they every single week of Big Brother has something misrepresented in the edit. If your evidence is like they showed Vince's perspective during the Jimmy boot, it's like, yeah, man. Yeah, I just don't think we disagree. It's like, I'm saying Vince got a good edit. You're like, no, Vince got the best edit. I'm like, okay. Tucker Keanu alliance and the strategy. I don't think they would get along. I would be surprised if Tucker and Keanu like work together. Doesn't seem likely to me. But yeah, they'll ask him, and I think he's more likely to say yes than no. But there's real questions about that. He'd for sure say yes. I think, here's my theory, Quinn. I don't think he would ever go on the challenge. I think he would take one look at the rookie contract and, like, laugh at it and, like, ask to negotiate, and the challenge is not going to do it. Like, that's what would hold him back. They want him. He wants to do it. But I think he places a certain value on himself, and I don't even blame him for that. Frankly, Tucker's worth more than the challenge is going to give him as a rookie, you know? So I could be proved wrong in a week. Like, I don't know. But that's my theory. Thank you, Casey, for the prime. Okay, now we got maybes. So actually, there's a third tier. Maybe is like, again, just in between the tier of they'll get a call. Will they actually get on? I'm not sure. Will they even get the call? But if they do get the call, they'd say yes. In between, probably, and the tier we got below it. Rachel. I think they would ask Rachel. I really do. I think Rachel would get the call. Why wouldn't she? And I think Rachel would do it. I feel like most people just think that Rachel wouldn't be in the mix because, like, it felt like 27, her being on was a random thing. But they had Janelle on 7 times. They had Kaser on. Like, Rachel is legendary enough for them to just call her back. She was a total hit on 27. She has the casual appeal from back in the day and from recently. I just think she'll get the call. Does she say yes? I think she's such a fan of Big Brother that she would. But I think she'd have to sit and talk about it with Brendan for a while because it's a lot to go through. Being away from your kids for that long, but I think she would do it. I think she says no if it's anytime soon. I think y'all underestimate how much Rachel likes Big Brother. But, you know, if it was BB28, she might want to take a beat. But you just never know if there's going to be another opportunity to come around. So even still, I think she might do it. I think Rachel slips under the radar as someone they would ask. But I think they would ask her to come back for sure. I think Frankie's going to be on All-Stars 3. You got to remember, All-Stars 2 was not just people from the recent seasons. They had Kevin Campbell. They had Memphis. They had Keisha. They had all these people. Frankie is a huge name who seems to be back in the community. They had him host a competition last season. He was on Reindeer Games. I think he's a no-brainer. They would want him. For sure. And I'd be interested. I'd be interested to see Frankie play again. He's a gamer. He's a gamer, and he obviously is a huge character on the episodes. So, like, I do think Frankie will be on. Josh, I actually didn't put Josh on the list. I think Josh is a big possibility, too. He just has so many shows at any point, and I think, like, Big Brother's a big commitment to him. He likes Big Brother a lot. He defends Big Brother. I appreciate him for that, but Josh probably belongs in the tier under this, but I didn't have him there, but it's a good point. People loved him on Reindeer Games. Yeah, it's not... You have to be careful, though, because it's an edited show. Like, when you didn't like someone on the feeds and then you love them on Reindeer Games, it's like, I think you've just gotten got. But I like Frankie on 16. You know, he's a flawed, you know, don't ascribe to everything he says, but I think he'd be a good choice. He declined All-Stars 2. Or, yeah, okay, he did decline All-Stars 2, if I understand that correctly. However, he then, like, re-entered the community after the fact, and he basically told America and I at the BB25 finale party, like, I'm back in the mix, which clearly was referring to Reindeer Games, but, like, he's back. He just hosted a competition last season. So I think if he was going to say no then, that does not mean he's going to say no today. So, I think Frankie will be on. In terms of, like, older school players, he seems like a no-brainer. Eric's another one. They just gave him a call for 27 is the only reason I put him on this list. He's gotten so close to being on the cast every single returning player season. And I think it might just be like, at this point, the same people have cast returning player seasons. And it might just be like, all right, it's Eric's turn. He's due. And I think him being in 27 just vindicates the fact that he's back in the mix. He would be like the old school token superfan casting. And I could genuinely see it happening. I think it's a real possibility, which is very exciting. Because I think previously I would say this is just like me hoping. But I think it's possible. But there's a good chance they call him and then don't put him on the cast. You know, it's ruthless out there. So, I think there's a chance. I don't know about this one. It's similar to Frankie. Like, Danielle would be the legend that they have back on the cast. I think she would do it. I hope she would do it. I think they would certainly ask. But yeah, Danielle would be a star. I mean, obviously on Reindeer Games, was part of the BB25 promo. Has been on Traders recently. Like, she's back in the mix. I think she wants to win Big Brother. I think it matters enough to her that if she got the opportunity to play again, she would say yes. It's a big commitment. It's a hard ask, but I think she would do it. So, the biggest hurdle I think would be her saying yes, but I think she'd say yes. And that'd be awesome. Danielle's top of my list of people I'd want to come back. Seeing how she played on the Traders, it'd be a mess if she ever got HOH or was on the block or something. Now we're on to the final category. A few of these people will get on, but most of them won't. Everyone here, I think, gets a call. I think everyone here is deserving of being back on the show in their own right. There's only so many spots. Some of these people are competing against each other, and not all of them are getting on. Quinn. I think Quinn's biggest issue is just being on BB26. Like, we're going to have Tucker and Angela and Chelsea almost guaranteed. Maybe his best bet's like if Tucker says no. There's interesting dynamics with, like, Tucker and Quinn's rivalry, and Quinn and Angela had a dynamic. I just think, like, would they have 4 from BB26? It's very possible, but also the nerd archetype is somewhat competitive. I think, like, me and Quinn is kind of a back and forth. I think they'd favor Quinn slightly, but I'm on 25, which is a less populated season on an all-star cast. Would Vince fit his same archetype? Would they call Turner, maybe? Would they call Michael? There's just a couple more options. Even Izzy, sure. Izzy fitting a similar archetype. I think it's just... There's more questions about if they would go with Quinn ultimately, but I think he'd get a call. He'd obviously do well in the interviews. I think he has a real shot. Shout-outs, Quinn. MJ, runner-up, made one of the worst moves in BB history. Comp Beast, very young, which I think, like... They asked Cody Calafiore back, right? I think she would be a very similar callback in that sense. And I'd be down. She's a gamer. She plays hard. And hopefully she would learn from her experience and come at it a different way. Seeing her and Chelsea in the house again together would be really fun. I think this feels like she'll get a call. I don't know if she gets on, though. Michael, similar to Quinn, nerd archetype, is very competitive. There's a little bit of baggage with like the Kyle stuff. I don't think that's as big of a factor in casting as fans might think. I think he would be just fine. They've asked people back who've got much worse baggage than him. So I don't think that'd be as much of an issue for Michael as you'd think. He's a gamer. He'd play hard. I hope he plays more actively next time. Very memorable, of course. He has one of the most memorable evictions in BB history. And I think that plays in his favor in terms of just like memorable moments that the casuals would recognize. So I think Michael would have a shot. I don't know if Michael got a call for the race. That kind of is a red flag for me if he didn't. But he's a lawyer, so maybe he just said no. He didn't have time. But I think like if you didn't get a call for a race, I think that's somewhat of an issue because it's the same casting people, but it's also a different company. It's a little bit hard. And for me, I'm not even putting that as like a pro in my column because I think a lot of my appeal was having Zach as well. So, if anyone thinks that's me putting myself on a pedestal, it's not. Izzy, I would say this was, again, like a very far-fetched idea until The Amazing Race, just because Izzy did not make a huge splash in the edit. On BB25, Izzy was probably not one of the top 7 or 8 most memorable people just from a casual perspective. All of us know the impact that Izzy has on the season. She just single-handedly uplifts feeds to be good. And I think, again, there's not, like, they don't cast many gay women on Big Brother in general. So, like, if we're just trying to make more arguments for why Izzy should be on the cast, there's one. I think she'd obviously be great. I think there's a chance they'd call her. She'd obviously want to do it again. And I'd love to see it. So, it's just not certain. There's no certainty that she would get called, right? Or if she did get called, if she'd get through. They already fumbled her edit once. Like, would they do it again? And would casuals know who she is? I think because of the race, I think you could, like, make an argument that she would. What's up, Kirsten? Thank you for the raid. I hope you're doing well. I haven't talked to you in forever. We haven't done, like, a Goose Goose Duck or a Clock Tower. If they don't call her for All Stars 3, I'm never watching Big Brother again. Kirsten, if you get one pick, because obviously you've been in the casting process, one Kirsten choice, no one can veto it, they're on the show. Who's your pick? I gotta know. Fuck it. You can include Canada if you want. I'm trying to think who you'd say. For US BB All-Stars, just bring anyone back. It might be Izzy. I mean, from a live feeder's perspective, it's a very easy argument, right? Like, you put Izzy in the BB26 house. As long as Izzy's in there, the feeds will be bumping. Even if no one else is interested in playing, America would use hers on Ica for sure. I think it's so silly that they haven't cast Ica. It's so free. Just free casting. When she pushed Cameron and said, "See you again soon, pig," she won my heart. Yeah, but what about when she pushed me and said, "Pipsqueak"? I assume then you said, "How dare you, Izzy?" That's too far. I assume, right? That's how it went down in the Kirsten household. Yeah, Marty would not be on my top 100. Kyland. I'd love to see Kyland and Izzy on the same season. That'd be a good time. I'm not sure about Kyland. I don't know if he even got called for the race or if it was just like through Taylor. But I do think from the cookout, he's more likely to say yes than Xavier. And I think he, frankly, is a more interesting casting choice than Xavier. Xavier you would just have because he's a winner and, like, you're going to have a lot of winners. But he plays hard. He has interesting dynamics with some cast members. I could go either way with him on the cast, but I think he would probably get a call, and he's said yes to more shows than he said no to, so. Braden. It's a good call. I've seen Xavier say he would never do it again. I actually believe Xavier, too. A lot of cast members say it, and then I'm like, okay, sure. Xavier did do the anonymous, right? He did reindeer games. He said yes to things. Big Brother is just such a commitment, though, and I think he genuinely would just be like, I got work, sorry. So, I don't think he'd do it. Ashley, I think, is the last name. I'm not sure with Ashley. I think they would call her. I think they should call her because again, she was much better on the feeds than she was in episodes. Like she was fun in the episodes, but like she really was a highlight on the feeds. I don't think they made good use of Ashley's entertaining qualities on the episodes. I don't think she's a very memorable winner for casual audiences. They already are going to ask a good amount of people from 27. Vince Morgan and Keanu seem like they'd be on the cast. I think Ashley would be very fun to have with those people. But I do think Ashley would probably not get the call. It's also insane how much she looks like Chada here. Someone just said rather see Chada, and she's the next person here. But like this picture, they look so similar. But I hope they give Ashley the call. Any chance for a winner to play again who I think like a winner who has a chip on their shoulder, that's a good time. Speaking of Vince, I gotta go watch God 101. He's so cool. The way that he just weaves in and out of public discussion. Like, drops nothing and then just God 101 out of nowhere for 12 minutes. Like, super, super funny to me. Hannah, I think Hannah is as close to, like, me as anybody. She's just super likable. I don't know how memorable she is. Of course, she's in the cookout, so I think a lot of it would depend on how many other people from the cookout they have. Other people from 23. She was young, so I think a lot of people would be like, okay, well, she's grown. Now how is she going to do? She probably entered BB23 as a student, and now she's, I think she's in med school. I don't know if she's out of med school yet. Probably not. Med school's forever. So you'd see, like, the natural progression in her life, which I think they like with All-Star seasons. She would be perfectly likely to get the call. She was, as far as I understand, like, the alternate for The Amazing Race. So, like, she was right on the cusp of there, too. So I think she'd probably be in a similar spot. I'd say I'm probably like a little bit less likely than someone like Hannah, just because I think my spot is a little bit higher, more contested in terms of just like the nerds. But I do think we're similar in the sense of like the role we played on the season, how memorable we are. We were both essentially alternates for the race. Like it's all pretty similar. If she plays anything like she does on Brent Steele, this is our winner. She's a fucking demon on Brent Steele, and she's very good at RHAP traders too. I think after Tar, her chances go way up. I think anyone who's on Tar, their chances go up just because you spend more time with the casting people, you get a little bit more public buzz, you know, just a little bit more recognizability. So I think her odds are better after the race than before. So that's it. I mean, that's our cast. I really think, like, to go through it one more time, let's make this cast. Okay, let's do the women first. We're doing 8 women. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think Rachel gets on. 7. And then one of these people has to be number 8. Of these people, I would go with Ashley. Well, no, I'd go with Izzy. I would probably take Rachel out personally, just because we've seen her so many times and, like, we get it. She's awesome. And I'd probably go Izzy and Ashley from this group. But I think they would probably go with Rachel if Rachel wanted to do it. And then probably cut Ashley, honestly. I think they'd cut Ashley before Izzy, which is kind of crazy to say, but we saw how they edited Ashley. Like, she wasn't a hit in production, at least. And for the men, Keanu's a lock, Jag's a lock. Derek, I think, would be very certain to be on, as would Vince. Tucker, if he says yes. Frankie, I think, is as close to a lock as anyone in this category. Eric's a maybe. I think it's more likely now than it's been recently. And for that final spot, of these people, I think it's probably most likely to be Michael. Michael or Kyland, I think. Probably Michael. Not sure. What about Joseph Abden? I don't know. Maybe. He was just so understated on Big Brother. Like, he wasn't... He was like a side character of a side character on the show. People liked him on the feeds a lot, but he had a much smaller edit than anyone else we've talked about today. No June. I think with what June said about Julie, I think it's a hard ask for the show. I think it's just a tough ask. Cameron Harden. I don't think he would do it. Or he would do it. I don't think he would get the call. I think it's just Tucker and Keanu are too. They're just better. He was already on Reindeer Games. I don't think he was a hit there. I think it's just like Cameron's like a strike while the iron is hot kind of player, and I feel like the iron is not hot anymore. You know, there's always like a new version of that guy. But I wouldn't be like if Tucker says no. Like, would it be the most shocking thing in the world? Not necessarily. All right. It is time for the main event. Kirsten, are you familiar with Big D attempts? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say I'm doing Big D attempts? Because it probably sounds worse than it is based on just based on how I'm saying it. Thank God the iron is ice cold now. Like, I don't think he got a call for the race even, which is kind of hard to imagine. Like, you know, post BB. I have to say I don't, and I'm concerned. Okay. Well, everyone's familiar with Brent Steele. Big D, one of the premier finalists in Big Brother history. For about 6 to 8 months now, we've been attempting to win a Brent Steele with Big D. Interactively, we're playing as Big D. We have everyone's stats put into the game, no relationships. And just if you want a glance at the stats. Yeah, Big D's, we got some ground to make up. To be clear, we are taking Big D as he was during BB23, not as he is now. He obviously got in very good shape, and I think physically he would do quite well in comps these days. But that's not the exercise. We're talking in BB23. So we get 3 attempts a day. We've gotten pretty close. We've gotten within 1 vote of winning. We've gotten to the final 2. Last run, or last stream, we got to final 5, I think, all 3 times. But we just can't close it out. The jury management is an issue, admittedly. So, without further ado, let's get it going. What should we do song-wise? What's the vibe for today? How about... Let's do some Taylor. I haven't done Taylor Swift in forever. I think it's a little bit more low-key. All right. 9-person jury. Yes, let's adjust the size of the jury. All right. Good luck, everybody. Mostly to me and Big D. Here we go. See ya, Kirsten. I'm sure we'll talk soon. If the June Julie feud blacklists her, why was she called for BB7 14? And I think they gauged her interest for 22. I don't know how much any of that's true. Like, I believe you. Like, I'm not refuting it. It's just she also never got on the show. So it's like, being contacted and not getting on doesn't do you much good, you know? Oh, what a start. What a damn start this is. June said it herself. She declined. Press X to doubt. I'm sorry. I'm incredibly skeptical of people who've said publicly that they've declined to be on shows. I'm even more skeptical of people who said they've been reached out to by other shows when it doesn't sound quite right to me. I'm not going to name names, no reason. I just, like, sometimes I just doubt it. I just don't believe people. So, you know, not even like I don't believe June, but I would be surprised if June was on a cast for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's been so long ago. She's not, like, super recognizable to the average fan. Us fans would love to see June play again. But the Julie stuff, I think, is an issue. So, anyways. Our Travis and Frenchie alliance is almost fucking perfect. And having Tiffany there to just be an extra number, I like it. Are we winning HOH? First HOH? Just me or Travis? Fuck. Alright. Oh, fuck. 2 of our allies? God, that was such a big swing of a first HOH. We're playing. That's good. Alright, come on, Frenchie. Use it? Oh, jeez. What do we do? I think we have to target Tiffany, right? Let's do something to stand out, because we're going to lose a number. This is so fucking scary to me. Okay, so we're gonna have to stand out again next week. Vote out Tiffany for sure. Okay. It's a bad start, but we still have an alliance, right? Of course. Comp Beast Hannah. Alright. We're gonna have to do something to stand out because we already got ops. Christian. I mean, they should vote out Christian, right? Huge. That could have saved us. It could have saved us. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Wow. All right, Taylor. You've been cut off. Absolutely not. We are not dealing with that shit. We're going to Sabrina now. Fucking 15th? Jesus. Well, that was great. Who's going to win? Any predictions? Whitney and Brittany finale is not what I predicted. All right, let's do it. No alliances. Not great. Alyssa's first HOH. Oh, Jesus. Are we speedrunning Big D attempts today? Try to win. Okay, good try. Guys? Stay out of the spotlight, maybe. Okay, this is good. That went pretty well, I guess. Guys? Okay, alright, we're fine. 7-6, alright, we're good. Week 2. Oh, come on, give me the revenge HOH, please, please. Oh, fuck. Anonymous. Always popping in to give some subs. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing quite well. I assume that was for this attempt. Gifting for the previous attempt would seem a little bit, dare I say, sarcastic. Like you wouldn't have actually meant it. Anyways, I appreciate you, Anonymous. This next week is dedicated to you, okay? Week 3 of the second Big D attempt. Uh-oh. Okay. Anonymous, because of you, we're going to do something to stand out. Anonymous, you should give me more subs. You fucked me up. What is wrong with you? Sarah Beth's probably better than Hannah. Or better than Whitney. Okay. Alright, this is your week, Anonymous. Let's see how you do. 12th. Alright, bad start, I'll be honest. Hannah just stays winning. I love those noms, though. Hannah's just the beast. Okay. Big. We've kind of turned things around. Get rid of Kylan would be massive. Honestly, Anonymous, thank you for the 5 gifted. What a run you've been on. It's much appreciated. Getting rid of Kylan? Damn. I don't think anyone really matters at this stage. Prefer to get Tiffany out than Azza for sure. Christian, Vito, don't use it. Alright, so now I think we're staying out of the spotlight. We had one positive standing out thing. Vote out Tiffany. Nice. Alright, this is the last pre-jury week. Hannah. HOH, okay. I'd love to vote out Christian. That'd be sick. Okay. Good. I'm going to stand out. I feel like we have no footing in this house right now. Well, I don't think that should hurt us with the other house guests. Maybe jury management. Good. An HOH would do a lot for us. Not this week. Claire. Alright. See what we can do. It's a pretty winnable veto pool. It's not good. Guys, you gotta vote out Derek. Stand out. Huge. This is bad, but this is good. We made the right call here for sure. 6-2. It's not a good day. It's not a good day. It's not a good day. All right, we need a fundamental vibe shift is what we need. Fundamental vibe shift. I got it. Don't worry. All right, who ended up winning? Hopefully. Oh my God, Brittany's in the final two twice. All right. Last run at it. I said today's the day. I might have been lying. The closest we've ever gotten was working closely with Kyland, so I don't hate this. Come on, Kyland. Come on. So it's Kyland and Claire's our alliance. Okay, that's a pretty good start, I guess. Alyssa wins. Okay, so that keeps Christian on the block. Yes, we're good. Now we're chilling for the rest of the season. Or at least until the next big alliance forms. Okay. We stood out. We have our alliance. We vote out Christian. Fuck. Guys, we can't miss these opportunities. Are you still going to do a Roblox TR stream with Morgan? Yeah, it's just hard to organize. We're all busy. Kyland? Okay, Operation Save Kyland. Understood. Okay, we got the whole squad in the veto. Surely. Let's go, team. Look at that. This is what it felt like in OTEV when Cameron wasn't picked. All right, save yourself. Good. Travis the replacement. This doesn't really matter. Travis or Brent? I think Brent's probably the worst player. Let's get rid of Travis. Brent's evicted. That's totally fine. That's so fucking bad. I'm gonna let it run though. I'm gonna be chill about it because we did make good relationships early. Alyssa's HOH. Both my allies. Okay, well I'm kind of glad I jumped ship. Frenchie veto. Well, at this stage, let's try to bond with Kylan. Let's see what the deal is. If we're actually still good. He flips the mattress. All right, he's got to go. Do not fold here. Good. Okay. That's fine. Big picture, getting rid of Kylan early is just useful. And here we go. See, I'm starting to learn the algorithm. This is just how it works. So, of course, we're prioritizing Travis and Frenchie in this group of 6. The alpha threat is Derek and Hannah. Tiffany's a problem, but she's not a comp threat. Come on, Travis. Oh, getting rid of Christian would be juicy here. House's choice is me, though, which is kind of interesting. X wins. Keeps him the same, probably. I'm going to bond with Christian. He seemed like he wanted to work with us. I'm going to vote out Claire. Fuck it. Let's see what we can do. We didn't have the votes to get rid of him anyways. So we have Christian as like our outside ancillary person to target our alliance. I feel good about my decision, y'all. Getting rid of Derek here would be kind of huge. Whittling down our own numbers kind of naturally. Tiffany. All right, it's 2 of our allies, so I feel good. Let's stay out of the spotlight and just vote out Derek for sure. Okay, we lose Tiffany. That's still good, getting our numbers down. Oh my god. What are we cooking here? So now we're connected with everybody. Hannah and Derek are also connected with anybody, so really the goal for me is to get rid of Derek and Hannah quick. I want Derek and Hannah out of the alliance, quite frankly. Like, if I would HOH, I might target them. Because I'd be in such a powerful spot if I'm in the middle of these two without anyone else. Unless it's HOH, it's fine. We want Xavier out here for sure. He's not in our alliance. He's just too big of a threat. Come on. Nice, Travis. Christian's going up. We want X out here. Stay out of the spotlight. Vote out X. Very good. Okay. We're at week 7. We're in an alliance with everybody, I believe, except Ozza. Everyone but Ozza, right? Ozza and Brittany. I don't think those are my targets, though. I do think I'm targeting Hannah and Derek if I get the chance. Well, good thing she doesn't know that. It's Ozza and Brittany. So, if someone comes off the block, there's not an obvious replacement nom. Brittany wins it. Ooh, this could be us. Puts up Christian. Yeah, I guess Christian's not in the alliance either, right? I think I want Ozza gone here. Let's talk to Ozza. We bond extremely well. I think it's worth it to get rid of Christian now. He's too big of a threat at the end of the day, right? Bonding extremely well is pretty valuable. Whitney dips. Okay, it's fine. Okay, we're locked in with him. Whitney is probably the better target of these two for us. Nice try, I guess. Ozza goes up. I think I want Alyssa gone here, because Ozza's outside of our alliance, but we bonded extremely well. We got to start whittling down our own numbers eventually. I think I vote out Alyssa. Okay, we made it happen. Wow. Because now our alliance are getting a little bit more manageable, right? It's just the 5, and we have these 2. Hannah and Derek just got to go, though. They're too big of threats. Look at this. I mean, Ozza and Brittany. We want to keep Ozza, ideally. House guest choice is us. Come on, one of us got to get this. Come on. Puts up Whitney. Let's see if we can get rid of Whitney here. Three, 2. That's a bad week. That's a bad one for us. Let's try to win. Frenchie wins, which is fine. We get to play. That's good. Travis wins. Should not use it. Ooh. Oh, I love it. I fucking love it. Okay. We stay out of the spotlight. I like our spot. Vote out Derek. 100%. Easiest choice of my life. Fuck. Why do you backdoor him, Frenchie, and then vote to keep him in the tie? Shit. That exposed us. Well, yeah, no wonder he's been kicked out of the alliance. A fucking loser. Let's try to win. Can't win shit this season. And now we're doing this again. Frenchie and Brittany. I think I prefer Brittany out, right? Travis. No, I probably want Brittany in the house so we could vote Brittany out as an alliance. Stay out of spotlight. I want to vote out Frenchie. I think that's the play. We got him. Because now, the way I see it is Travis dips. Okay, that makes it different. But the fact that Brittany is out of the circle means we have 2 consensus nominees for any 3 of us winning. Which means even if one of them wins the veto, our votes should carry. Travis HOH. Pretty good noms for us. We kind of just wanted to stay the same. Okay. Please put up Hannah. Please put up Hannah, Travis. Fuck. This was why we kept Brittany, though. This was intentional. This is why we kept Brittany in the game. Was so, if we got on the block next to her, we could survive. We're staying out of the spotlight. We're sticking with our plan. 2-0. That's just understanding the algorithm. That's just understanding how to play the fucking game. Okay? All good. But we're in the final 4 with 2 people we can't beat. So we got to be very efficient here. Hannah dips. Okay, it's just me and Derek. The winner. Well, that's actually good, because she doesn't have a vote, right? Nominates us. That's good. I think that's somehow the best case scenario. I mean, this means we're going to the final two with someone we probably can't beat, but I think it gets us close to the final two. Because I think he should vote out Travis. We're staying out of spotlight. Perfect. All right, final three. This has been the three the whole season. We've run it. So it should be a 66% chance of getting to two at least. We're trying to win. Derek wins part one. Come on, please. Come on, Derek. Come on, Derek. I think that's final two. Oh, you asshole. Fuck. Really? Really? You let Hannah bamboozle you like that, huh? It was the right move, too. I would have beaten him. Oh, I had the jury wrapped around my finger. No. AFP, though. AFP, though. Oh, what a fucking tragedy today was. What are we at? 15th, 9th? No, 15th, 11th, and then 2nd or 3rd? 3rd, yeah. It's getting tough. Like, here's the thing. When we win, it's going to be glorious. And every time we lose, it makes the win more glorious. But I don't know if that win's ever going to come. So we got to lock in. Okay, we've gotten close. I'm starting to think the move might just be Kyland. We go all in on Kyland like every season because he's like abrasive enough to maybe not get votes and he's the best competitor on the cast. The issue is half the house are unbeatable. Yeah, I don't think I've gotten to the end a ton of times with like really beatable people. But damn, no comp wins that season. Usually we get one if we're there towards the end. I think I'm going to start doing something where if I'm out pre-jury, I have like a punishment of some sort. Mix it up a little bit. Get some comp wins, stay in the background. I think I understand. Like, I don't think there's much more meta development that is needed. You know, like I understand how to do it now. I think I understand how to maximize my chances. It's just things go wrong every season, you know? Okay. Well, that'll do it. That's my stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A brisk hour 20. Seeing if there's anyone live. Doesn't seem like it. We'll just send you guys off to real life functions. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for the digital daily. You like the shirtless digital dailies? If you guys don't know what's happening on my Instagram, there's a lot of lewd content, so you guys might want to check that out. We're probably gonna watch Survivor Micronesia tonight, the premiere, which is gonna be very exciting. Weird premiere, but we'll watch it. Yeah, we'll post the casting Q&A today. That's already recorded. Just got to upload it, and that will be good to go. So appreciate you guys.